Good afternoon, Visamo. This is my first live post, and first of all, let me say a big thank you to Visamo. I just begin with a small anecdote. Recently, I was visiting some country abroad, and I met somebody. So when I started talking about my group, Calrex group, the lady who met me at America, she says that she has some kind of association with Calrex. I said, how come? She said, almost 20 years back, she visited Visamo. And there was some kind of promotion and some celebrity was supposed to come. I think it was the celebrity Shri Jayaprada ji. Along with Jayaprada, this lady came to Visamo. So I was really surprised that, even 20 years ago, people were so associated with Visamo, and they make a statement of it and they feel proud. So this is what made me feel like that it is very, very important for all of us to be part of Visamo Kids Foundation, maybe in one way or another way. So me as a principal of Delhi Public School have, I think, very beautiful association with the Visamo Kids Foundation. First of all, there are kids who are studying at DPS Bhopal from Visamo. There are 20-25 kids. Every year they are getting education at Visamo. Second, I have few employees at DPS Bhopal who have been part of Visamo. So I have the latest engineer of Delhi Public School Bhopal, who was in Visamo Kids Foundation for so many years. He took education in one of the beautiful schools in the city. Another, my basketball coach, he was part of Visamo and today he is working with DPS. Another coach is working with DPS. So there are three people who are working with DPS, and there are innumerable number of name comes to my mind who all are working with, I would say, different kind of institutions, and they have made their name in the field of different profession. As a principal, as a educator, I feel proud that I have contributed. I think there are many people probably in the city, one way or another way, who have given some kind of contribution to Visamo. There is another, I think, beautiful association. Whenever we get together for fundraising, every member of Calrex, they try their best. DPS Bhopal kids, they find out unique way. They made small posters and they visited their neighborhood areas and started fundraising. Every child somebody collecting 100 rupees, somebody collecting 200 rupees. I remember one child who came up with a very good idea, and he said how Visamo is contributing. Rather, he started speaking to the parents, saying that if you give donation to Visamo, you will get some kind of rebate in the income tax. And that child collecting 10,000 rupees. So this is some beautiful feeling when different kind of kids, different kind of people, from different field, they start promoting Visamo for the sake of promoting education. So today's topic is Right to Education Act. RTE came into 2009, and in 2009, when this RTE came, I would say that RTE was not the novel idea. There have been many systems in past which are promoting education in India. Probably Right to Education Act gave a beautiful name. That it gave the name the right to education. That everyone has the right to be educated. Before that, I remember when I was in school, there was Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan, Blackboard came, and Education for All. So Akshar. So there are many policies have been made in past which are promoting education. But RTE came with some kind of different novel idea that how to promote each and every child. So in Right to Education Act, everyone was the stakeholder. Parent was the biggest stakeholder. Society was another stakeholder. Government, definitely, that some kind of rules, regulations were made where the local government, municipal corporations, the state education, so everyone has to play one particular role. And then most important, even the existing educators, private schools, even private schools, they were given some kind of duty, that it is the duty of even private schools to provide or contribute the education. So I would say that this Right to Education Act was very necessary. Unlike Western countries where the education is a right of each and every child, in India we have somehow compromised with the basic need of children. Therefore, it was very important that government came up with the new kind of idea, and which was, the name was given Right to Education Act. Providing universal education has been one of the main objective of successive Indian governments since independence. This has resulted in various policies and financial intervention over the last several decades. So the statement which was made by the government at the time of Right to Education Act was that state must respect, protect and fulfill the right to education of everyone within their jurisdiction in accordance with the right to equality and non-discrimination. So non-discrimination and equality was the main ingredient. That is why right to education became very strong tool. So this was almost a decade ago when this rule came in, and variety of rules, variety of models were created. Thank you so very much. Many comments I am getting. Thank you very much. I was little bit late because Facebook has came up with the new kind of upgraded version. So I was not able to search where to go live. So I'm using my mobile. So Principal of Rouge, good evening. Kadambri, good evening. So I think we all educators, Sangeeta, thank you for after a long time I'm seeing you here. Subhashri. So I think we all educators must know what's happening in Right to Education Act. Whether in true sense we are able to come up to the expectations of the government and the general public in the field of education. I think this is time to introspect and let us find out that in what sense we are able to reach out to each and every student. So, I started with the story of Isamo Kids. Right to education came 10 years ago, where government felt that every child to be given education. Isamo Kid came 20 years ago. The Calrex felt that why only few kids going to private schools and remaining going to government schools. Every child has a right to get the best education. So, but for that condition is required. Everyone cannot be given the education in private schools because there are finances involved. But they find out, Isamo Kids find out a unique way to identify children from rural background, needy kids who deserve special attention because of their need, number one, and number two, their aptitude. So I think we were much in advance compared to the central government, because in 2009 Right to Education Act came, but in 2000 we started working with kids to provide them best education. So now I just wish to explain then what has been advantages, disadvantages, pitfalls of Right to Education Act. First thing first, idea was that to improve the enrollment, every child must go to school, right? When every child is required to go to school, you need partners. Partners can be schools, partners can be parents, partners can be the local government, local authorities, and partners can be the government, the private schools. So idea was to increase the enrollment. So I think first thing first, in 2009, till 2016. So whether the enrollment increase, I must tell you, yes, enrollment increase. How much? By 20%. If I tell you the exact number, it was in 2009. In 2009, in grades, let me take one component. Let us not take all the components. Let us take upper primary. Upper primary is 6 to 8. So in 2009, there were 54 million students enrolled in grade 6 to 8, right? And in 2015, 67 million kids were enrolled. So what is the hike? Hike, I would say, first year when Right to Education Act came, there was 6.5% hike. Second year it was 12%. So because people get to know about Right to Education Act, so there was lot of enthusiasm. So yes, number came with, I think, with big jump. First year 6.5, second year 12%. Now then there was the concern. Second year 12% increase in enrollment due to Right to Education Act, but third year it went back. Third year the increment was only 6.8% and fourth year merely 1.7%, 1.7, less than 2%. So less than 2% where the population of India is increasing at the speed of more than 2%, but enrollment was only 1.7% high compared to the previous year in the year 2015 and 16. So there is a big question mark whether Right to Education Act has come up to the standard to increase the enrollment. I would say not. So even in that, few states which were very, very backward, like Bihar. In Bihar, the average percentage of increase in 2014-15 was 6.5%, right? And Rajasthan 4.5%, which were very, very, I think, backward states. But some states, I think, due to government schools, they were less in number, rather they were going down. Private schools were coming up. In Madhya Pradesh, the percentage decrease was noted. You know how much? 2.7%. In West Bengal, 1.5%. So there are few states like Bihar, UP, Rajasthan, which are very, very backward already in education. Because of Right to Education Act, there was increase in number, but there are other states like MP, Assam, West Bengal. You would be surprised to see that numbers went down. So that was the concern of Right to Education Act. So the first thing, as I said in the beginning, the main role of Right to Education Act was to increase number. Unfortunately, we have not been very, very successful. But second part was more important, I believe. So when Right to Education Act came, many norms and rules were made for the schools. The minimum improved infrastructure norms were decided. Sizes of the room, the playgrounds, right? So I think at second part, definitely we have improved. So government schools, whether government or private or maybe municipality schools, big attention has been given to quality improvement in infrastructure. So I think there are many schools in the country, even today, who do not meet the RT norms, but still, because of the very tough rule regulation of affiliation as well as regularization of governments under RT, there is minimum requirement. I think this is one area where I think we have improved is infrastructure. Third component I would come, which was another very important part of Right to Education Act, was 25% quota in the private schools. Even today, I do not understand why this 25% quota was required in private schools, because we have abundant of numbers in government sectors. So many schools, they are providing educations. So instead of improving government sector schools, shift was made towards private sectors. And you would be surprised to note that everybody felt that now this is the duty of the private school to provide education. Two parts. First part, that government started believing that private schools are giving good education. If private schools are giving good education, why not to provide this facility to poor kids or students with different background, weaker section background, to have the same kind of facilities with other kids are getting. So that was one, I think, idea of the government, that every school must keep 25% quota in the private schools. So I think this goal was driven by policy level decision. Idea was to create education for all, because this is a fundamental right. But at the same time, few concerns also came up. But the best part is that in 2013 there were 24% seats. Whatever has been reserved were covered. For example, in every school you keep 25% quota. So if there are 40 crore students getting education in the different kind of sectors, so out of 40 crores, 18 crores are getting education in private sectors. So out of those 18 crores, you calculate the data for grade 1, 25%. So out of that 25%, in number of years, 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, every year 24%, 22%, 26%, 20%, 18% seats have been covered into those kept quota for the weaker sections. It means still there are 70 to 80% seats available. It means every child either not able to reach to this facility available or made available for them, or probably government and government agencies are not able to utilize the facilities or quota available for weaker kids. Maybe there are areas where the private schools are not available, because the important factor was the school should be in neighborhood. Maybe the private schools, maximum private schools, they are not in the neighborhood areas. So when this was implemented, 25% quota, few things came into calculation, that who is going to pay to the schools. So how per child calculation was done, cost per child. Calculation of per child cost was very, very arbitrary, because like cities like Ahmedabad, cities like Indore, cities like Delhi, very nominal money has been given to private schools, like 10,000 per year, 12,000 per year, assuming this is the only cost a school incurs while providing education. That is the biggest setback. I wish that if government start calculating the cost the way the cost is calculated at Kendriya Vidyalaya, right? Like KVs, in KVs the cost per child is coming 60,000 rupees per year. This is the minimum cost. In 12,000, 13,000, not possible even to pay the salaries. So these were the advantages. As I said, 3 advantages: number of enrollment increased, infrastructure improved, right? But there is another very important outcome of Right to Education Act was no detention, no assessment. If you remember CCE system, right? From grade 1 to 5 there is no exam. 6, 7, 8, 100% automatic promotion. So no detention, no assessment. I do not know, my educators are listening to me right now. Is this advantage or disadvantage? Idea was not to detain a child, right? But while not detaining a child, did we compromise with the education? Assessment is an important tool. Assessment means when we are assessing one child, we wish to check whether a child has learned the desired curriculum or not. So assessment is part of, I would say, learning capabilities. If assessment is not done, I think we are compromising with the quality of education. But at the same time, if we are promoting every child without failing, that is also somehow we are sending a message that assessment is not required, means learning is also not required. That is why there have been some kind of changes in recent time, that there is amendment in Right to Education Act, that in grade 5 and grade 8, grade 5 and in grade 8, we must make policies where a child can be detained. So child can be detained in grade 5, child can be detained in grade 8 with the permission of the parents. So I think this is very, very important. Now, my concerns are different. So are we able to achieve what we wanted to achieve with the help of Right to Education Act? I felt in good government schools, kids were having equal opportunities, but when they went to private schools, the equal opportunities were for the namesake. There was stigma attached, kids coming from very poor background, so they were finding themselves not able to adjust to a school where kids are floating some kind of, I would say, their backgrounds being rich, having lot of facilities and money, going by good buses or cars. That has been a concern. So this stigma attached was, I think, a big concern. But yes, good schools have come up with novel ideas. Now, for example, in our school, Delhi Public School Bhopal, there are many kids under Right to Education Act. And if somebody is visiting a particular section or class, you will not able to identify which child coming from weaker background, which child coming from upper background, which child is coming under the quota of Right to Education Act, which child is getting the independent school education. So I think this depends on the management of the school and the teachers, that they must ensure that every child, whosoever, from whichever background he is coming or she is coming, that once they are in school, they are uniform. They are getting uniform education. They are getting all the equal facilities, so that no child is left behind. So I think here I must appreciate the efforts of Visamo Kids Foundation, that somehow you are able to provide a very good education to many kids. You come to DPS Bhopal and identify these 25 kids, those who are in Visamo Kids Foundation and getting normal education. It is very difficult for every parent, any parent, to identify that one particular child is coming from Visamo Kids, because for them all seems to be same, and everyone is getting equal opportunities. So whether they are going for school trip excursions, whether they are participating in games, whether they are wearing uniform, same kind of uniform, books, etc., classes. So I think this is something very, very important, that each and every child is getting in true sense equal education. So the main ingredient of Right to Education was equality. So equality is must. So thank you to Visamo Kids Foundation. I think at this juncture, it is very, very important for, I do not know who my audience is. If the partners of Visamo Kids are listening to me, I must tell you that you are doing a good job, but without your participation, without your contribution, Visamo Kids will not be able to move forward. Visamo Kids need a lot of funds. Every child who is staying at the facilities of Visamo Kids, 1,15,000 rupees per child per year is spent, other than the education which is provided by the schools. So I think we must come together, all of us, we must be together. We must contribute. I remember when in Indian culture, Indian system, our elder used to say that whatever you learn, let us say if you earn 100 rupees a year, you must divide 100 rupees into 5 parts. 5 parts, 20 rupees for your food and facilities, 20 rupees for your education of your kids, 20 rupees for the health and the house, 20 rupees for the savings, and remaining 20% is meant for contributing toward the society. दान देने के लिए कहते हैं. So मैं आज विसामो किड्स फाउंडेशन की तरफ से जितने भी ऑडियंस हैं, जितने भी लोग हैं, मैं ये तो नहीं कहूँगा कि 20% of your saving you must give to Visamo Kids or any other NGO, but yes, you must contribute in your own ways. You can go and teach. You come forward to provide some kind of facilities like Delhi Public School Bhopal and many other schools are doing. I think there is something very beautiful concept at DPS Bhopal. We call it Ek Muthi Anaj. So Ek Muthi Anaj. Every child is bringing Ek Muthi Anaj. मेरे यहाँ बच्चे कितने हैं? देयर आर 5600 किड्स. एक मुट्ठी अनाज में almost 200 grams of grains are coming. So 5 kids together, they bring 1 kg of either pulses of grains or rice, right? So 5 kids make 1 kg. Just guess 5,000 kids are making how much? Right? So 1,000 kg of grains is collected every year and provided to Visamo Kids, and I'm sure like DPS Bhopal, many other schools are doing same way. So this is also one kind of contribution. Now I would like to discuss about the current situation. When I was speaking to the head of Visamo Kids Foundation, Madam Sudeshna, so she was worried. What was the worry? Worry was that because of Corona, kids are out to their places, they are not attending regular classes. Online education is a possibility for many kids, for many families, but who are coming from rural background, kids in Visamo Kids Foundation, who are with their parents with limited facilities available, no connectivity. So this was the biggest concern, that kids at Visamo Foundation are not able to get online education. This was one concern. And second concern was that funds are not generated. If they need 1.5 CR a year to feed and to look after 120 kids, so how to manage those funds? So I was telling Mrs. Sudeshna, and I say it again today, bad weather comes and go. This is a phenomena, and this is a phenomena everywhere, every part of the world, not only in India, right? So if you recall that when we were small kids, summer vacation used to be very, very bad. 2 months it was difficult to come out. No work in field, no farmer would go to the field. During rainy season, all areas are flooded. So I remember there is one part of mythological story of Lord Rama, when Sita was abducted. And he was searching, Lord Rama was on the mission to search Sita Mata. And suddenly this Chomasa came, it started raining, and he said, let us stop our search operation. So that time Sugriv asked, he was the king of that particular kingdom, he says, why? You must be in pain, right? You are searching for your wife for so long, and suddenly you say, stop it. He says, weather is not good. Or in today's time is not good. So when time is bad, everything has to be as pause. So I think all the facilities are at pause. That doesn't mean that things are going to be stopped forever. This pandemic of Corona, COVID-19 is going to pass very soon. The way we used to collect funds for Visamo, the way we used to teach Visamo kids, the way we used to provide variety of education, in a similar way we are going to provide I think the way we were providing education in past. So we are looking forward, nothing to worry about. This shall pass, and I think this shall pass very, very fast. So I am just reading few comments. Sudeshna Bhojia ma'am, sorry. Ek Muthi Anaj is an anthem now. Yes, thank you so very much. And this anthem was started by Delhi Public School Bhopal. So thank you so very much. So somebody is saying that we in the uniform access to quality education is received by kids at Visamo. This is our duty, you know. Under Right to Education Act, every child is special. We cannot discriminate, right? So we are not doing any kind of favor to any child, right? This is the duty under Right to Education Act. All principals, all teachers, please remember that it is your duty to provide education equally to everyone without giving any kind of stress. So with these words, I say a big thank you to Visamo. You have given me an opportunity to reach out to more parents. I say sorry that I started a bit late, but it has been said many times that be late better than never. I think we all are contributing in true sense because we all are educators, and the role of education, the role of educators is to give, and the role of Visamo Kids Foundation is also to give. So let us keep giving with the motto of Delhi Public School Bopo, service before self. Thank you so very much. God bless you all and have a great day ahead. Next week is very, very active for you, and I'm sure you're going to contribute in different ways for the betterment of society. God bless you. Thank you very much.